what if zombies? I love it, you guys. I love it. Literally, the title of this episode is just "What If Zombies." Literally, just last week, I was complaining about Marvel's "What If" having like these really long, elaborate titles, and this week it's just "What If Zombies." Just "What If Zombies." I love it. You guys, I'm going to go full spoilers into the latest episode of Marvel's What If. Marvel, What If Zombies. And I have to tell you guys, I loved this episode. If you cannot tell, this episode was just pure popcorn fun. Every second of this, I was just enjoying myself. It was honestly, at first when I started watching the episode, I thought that this was just going to be dumb fun. And it was dumb fun for a significant portion of it, but there's actually some surprising, like, emotional depth in this. There's some interesting face-offs, some really cool moments, and the, like, end twist at this is, like, kind of dark and scary and creepy, and I was like, whoa, and had some interesting revelations for our characters, especially, like, Vision and Wanda, and honestly, this was really, really good, and I did not think that What If Zombies was going to be the thing that did that. This is honestly my favorite episode of this show, aside from the T'Challa becoming Star-Lord episode, which is honestly a true, like, masterwork. But this one was just fun and surprisingly good. Like, it's not the most emotionally depthful thing I've ever seen, but I just enjoyed this. Let's get into this thing. Bruce Banner comes back to sort of the start of the Infinity War, but he comes back to find that the world has been taken over by zombies. His reaction during the opening fight, where like the Thanos side characters come down from Infinity War and then they just get eaten apart, and Bruce is just like freaking out. There's like, oh guys, that's overkill, and his just reactions were over the top funny. I just enjoyed it. He really, really sold it for me. I'm not entirely in love with his performance, Mark Ruffalo's performance. It's not the best, but it was just a lot of fun to see his reactions during that entire sequence. Also, I just loved the bit where we learned where all of this happened, where basically the slight change, the one change here is that in Ant-Man and the Wasp, when they go and rescue Hank's wife, she's turned into a zombie, and that's what caused it. I love it during the moment when she bites him. Even the Watcher's like, oof, that happened. Even the Watcher's like, yeah, this is the zombie episode. Just go with it. Guys, I love this episode so much. Oh, it was really cool to like see the zombies like using their powers in interesting ways and like creepy ways, like Ant-Man like biting Captain America when we saw the sort of flashback of the Avengers getting turned into zombies. I thought that was really cool. And then finally when we come back to the present and we sort of like get to see the new team, I love the introduction of Peter sort of being the one making like these little home movies to sort of explain the zombie apocalypse here. It started off as just something funny, a nice little call out to Spider-Man Far From Home, and sort of like what they did there. So I thought that was just a nice little undercut, Marvel just sort of having fun with this sort of bit, but it actually sets up that Peter is the hopeful one, the trying to stay positive even in the darkest of times, which fits his character really, really well. And so I just enjoyed that. All the stuff with Happy sort of having the Thor shirt, and Kurt of all characters to bring into this being the guy that sort of like sticks around for a while from Ant-Man was a lot of fun as well. And so that whole bit was absolutely wonderful. I also liked the sort of weird eclectic team that they kind of pulled together for this. They Hope, Okoye, Bucky, who else was in the team? I wrote them all down. Kurt, Sharon Carter, Wasp, Hope, obviously. Just a weird eclectic team that was just really fun to see their dynamics playing off of each other in, dynamics that we don't normally get to see in any of the Avengers films. So that was actually kind of fun to see this like new kind of Avengers team within this. That was absolutely great. Then going to Grand Central Station, this is probably the weakest section for me, with like Falcon coming in and we get Hawkeye as well. It was kind of weird seeing Hawkeye keep missing so many times. I guess zombie Hawkeye is not as good a shot with the arrow as regular Hawkeye, because there's some chances where he really should have hit Sharon, but sadly did not get away with it too often there. Also, I love the bit with with Happy just going bam, bam, bam. That was really great as well. all of that was super fun, and I just, again, I like that they started building up, like, Peter's the one that, like, is building up Hope. He's the one that's sort of, like, being, like, the kind guy here, and so that sets us up for when we get to the actual train, when Captain America comes on board and attacks Bucky. The standoff there was really, really great. I really enjoyed that standoff, and for Hope to sort of get bitten, and sort of that sort of, like, dark, sad moment where she's, like, talking to Peter, and Peter's like, come on, we need to have hope, we need to stand up for, just we can believe in each other. I thought that was, like, actually surprisingly, it wasn't like I wasn't, like, crying at it, but I was like, wow, that actually was built up well and paid off well, and was, like, a strong emotional beat here. I think the only negative I have in this section, and it's kind of a little bit of a thing that I will say to the episode as a whole, and I know someone's gonna be like, oh, Jessie, there's someone's gonna complain about, look at the SJW complaining about this thing, but it's just something that I noticed that did kind of bug me, was that none of the women survived in this episode. All of the women in this episode died. And Sharon was kind of the worst one, where she just kind of just gets murdered off screen, like very, very quickly and offhandedly by Steve, and no one really mourns for her. That one kind of bothered me a little bit. I like the ironicness of Steve being the one to kill Sharon. I thought that was clever, but it just kind of bugged me, the sort of like offhanded way that Sharon was dealt with. And then and that would have been fine, but just the fact that all the women in the episode just don't survive and die kind of offhandedly. Even Okoye later on kind of gets just like shunted at one point, which is kind of like, okay, that's a little bit disappointing. I mean, it's a zombie movie, people are gonna die, I get it, but that was sort of the one negative, and it's more just that it's not the worst thing. It's just something I was like, okay, I wish it just kind of felt a little offhanded at a few points that kind of bugged me. That's literally my only negative, because going forward from here, I really loved the beat where they were able to get over the zombies with Hope sort of becoming giant wasp, and then her dying was a really emotional beat. Like, that was a good payoff for her death, and she says, just keep smiling for me. That was actually, again, a good emotional beat that paid that off really well. Then we get into the base, and we reveal that Vision is the one who has sent out the signal. He's found a cure using the Mind Stone. Makes sense. And then we get to see Scott as like a head in a jar, and Scott just being like doing all the dad jokes was absolutely hilarious. It's one of those things where it's like, if this was like anything other than Marvel Zombies, Scott's head in a jar would not have worked for me. I would have been like, no, this is dumb and stupid. In this type of episode where I'm just like, you know what, this is the zombies episode, it's What If Zombies, I'm here for Scott's head in a jar. That it was a good moment within this episode. Anywhere else I would have called BS nonsense on it. Here I'm just like, yeah, I'm rolling with the punches on that. That's wonderful. Then we go sneak into this sort of back second. Oh, the other thing here too with Kurt saying like, I sense the Baba Yaga. That was a weird like setup. Like, I know they're setting up Wanda, but Kurt being able to sense her and like, I sense the, like, setting that up, it was a little bit forced, to sort of like a forced foreshadowing there, but whatever. It built up to the wonderful reveal that Wanda is zombified and Vision was feeding people to her, which is so interesting. Like, it's a little bit dark for Vision, but honestly feels like a weird mirror of what we saw in WandaVision. Spoilers for that show, for WandaVision, but, you know, Wanda being the one to sort of have created that whole sort of town and doing those horrific things because she wanted to bring Vision back, and was that whole central piece of that show. And so Vision doing the same thing here, basically, in a much darker way, but essentially for the same reasons, kind of rang true in a strangely weird way based off of what WandaVision, and it shows how strong their love is in a dark and twisted way. Also, Wanda being zombified, scary as all hell. Like, her in that corridor and those moments that she had, like, damn, terrifying. Like, absolutely terrifying. The fight with her was absolutely wonderful. My only knock again is this Okoye sort of being tossed away, but it was nice to see T'Challa back here. Chadwick Boseman getting to have another few scenes in the Marvel MCU that he recorded before he passed away, which is really nice. And them getting to escape. The bit with Hulk sort of running in, or Bruce running in and trying to convince the Hulk to like come out and rescue people. It's like, wouldn't it be nice if you were just good for a change? That was a great little bit. Bucky fighting Wanda and like shooting her and the bullets slowing down was awesome. Just some really cool sequences here. And then when they get off, I love them getting like caught by Hope and like getting away, and then she just so throws a single zombie at them. I loved it. But there was even like they still had emotional depth there, like Scott being bothered by the fact that Hope was dead. I think rang true too. So like even in amongst this like crazy weird nonsense going on, there's still some like attention paid to the characters. And I even should call out too, there was a nice moment with Chadwick Boseman. It didn't really read tonally with the episode all that much, but the moment where Chadwick Boseman said, in my culture, that when people die, they're still with us, it tonally didn't really fit with the episode, thematically didn't really fit with the episode either, but it did feel like a nice little call out to it seared weirdly like a premonition of Chadwick Boseman passing away, because it just rang true to that. Like, Chadwick Boseman's still with us, just as long as we remember him, which was kind of nice to hear from the man himself, and is kind of like weirdly premonitory of his passing in a strange way. So I'm not gonna knock it, even if this, I don't know, it just rings true to that, and I think that was kind of nice. Strangely, in a weird zombie episode, to have that like nice little call out from a man who has passed away that rang true about himself in an interesting way. So yeah, and then the end bit of the episode, Thanos showing up as a zombie, because I was wondering that too, because I'm like, aren't the events of Infinity War happening now? We have Thanos showing up as a zombie and snapping, or being able to use the Infinity Gauntlet is truly, truly terrifying. And a nice little like, oh crap, beat to end the episode on. So overall, if it's not clear, other than like a few things here and there, this episode was a lot of fun. I deeply enjoyed it. This was absolutely great. And this is my favorite one besides the T'Challa Star-Lord one so far. So yeah, Marvel, What If Zombies? What did you think about it? I'd love to hear all your thoughts below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you, as always, live long and stay sexy.